Welcome to the school of sexuality. Let's talk about our values, gender equality. Everyone has a body, but no two are the same. Respect, consent, my body is my body. Respect, consent, your body is your body. This is the school of sexuality.
Oh, hi! Bodies are amazing. They come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and abilities. We might all start off the same, but what is unbelievable is that once we are fully developed into complete humans, there isn't a single one of us that's exactly alike. We all have similarities to each other. We have arms, legs, eyes, ears, a mouth, and even nipples. Many bodies are capable of moving around and helping us achieve what we want each day, and some people are born with different abilities. This is often called people with disabilities. A disability is a physical, cognitive, mental, or sensory difference that affects the way a person functions. Sometimes when people hear the word disability, it is thought of as a negative thing, that people with disability are lacking when compared to non-disabled folks. This mindset could feed negative stereotypes that people with disabilities are lacking, wrong, bad, or inferior. But if we consider the fact that we are all different and we all have different strengths, then we can change our mindset from disability to differing abilities instead. Differing abilities. Throughout history, people with differing abilities have been stigmatized and discriminated against. In the early 1900s, the eugenics movement was a worldwide effort to stop reproduction by anyone who did not fit cultural ideas of the ideal health, appearance, behavior, and genetics. This affected people of different ethnicity and people with physical or intellectual disabilities the most. These people were often institutionalized, over-medicated, forced to have abortions, forcibly sterilized, and prevented from having sexual or romantic relationships. Thankfully, the eugenics movement was largely discredited by the mid-20th century. Although people with differing abilities have more freedoms and legal rights, they still face many challenges. With things like accessibility, having the same access to basic needs is an ongoing issue for people with disabilities. This could be as simple as the lack of a ramp to a building, or easy-to-use technology, or accessible transportation. Many education resources are not accessible to people with visual, hearing, or intellectual disabilities. Often people with disabilities run into healthcare maltreatment. They face discrimination, disrespect, and refusal of care. Over 70% of people with disabilities have reported some sort of abuse. Disabled folks are 3 times more likely to experience sexual abuse than non-disabled folks. Those with disabilities are more likely to be sexually abused than their peers without disabilities, regardless of gender. People with disabilities have a harder time finding employment, and when they do, they struggle with fair working conditions. Teens with disabilities often have overprotected parents, so they don't get to experience the same freedoms other teens enjoy. Many people in society continue to assume that people with disabilities are less curious, interested in, or available for romantic or sexual relationships than people without disabilities. Some people have disabilities that are obvious to the outside world, such as being in a wheelchair or missing a limb or visual impairment, while others have disabilities that are invisible. This could be things like learning disabilities or chronic illnesses. It's important to remember that not everyone has the same abilities and to keep in mind that we cannot have the same expectations for everyone. We need to consider how we can make our world more accessible for everyone.
What did one boob say to the other boob? If we don't get some support, people will think we're nuts.
We talked about sex assigned at birth and how there isn't just male bodies or female bodies, but there's also intersex bodies. What if we feel like we were born in the wrong body? What if the body we have doesn't match our internal sense of who we are? This feeling is called gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is a term used for a person that experiences distress for being in the wrong body. A person who experiences gender dysphoria could be non-binary, someone who doesn't identify with any gender, or transgender. Transgender or trans people will sometimes go through a transition to make their body match their internal identity. This may be done in many different ways. Sometimes it's as simple as a haircut and changing the way that you present with fashion. Other times people decide to take gender-affirming hormone medication, or sometimes surgery. People who are transgender may seek to affirm their gender identity in many ways. This could be through social affirmations, such as changing their name or pronouns. Legal affirmation, this could be through changing gender markers on government-issued documents. Medical affirmation, like taking gender-affirming hormones to block body changes or to start new ones. And surgical affirmation, with things such as facial feminization surgery, breast augmentation, masculine chest reconstruction, and so on. There isn't just one way to be transgender. Not all transgender people will desire to do all of these affirmations, if any. Each of these decisions is personal and can only be made by the person.
Taking School of Sexuality's classes could have some side effects. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, new ideas, confusion, happiness, communication skills, urges to be yourself, self-love, better friendships, new values, excitement, confidence, compassion, discernment, sympathy, tolerance, thoughtfulness, respect, and big questions. For any questions you may have, contact us immediately.